Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eliana Puresek, and I am the Director of MBE Services at GNE MSCC. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope that any questions you had about the MBE certification program get answered today. Sometimes our attendees do have special scenarios, and those we can definitely take them on the side and just look into them a little bit further. But this will cover the process in general from beginning to end. We will discuss everything from the initial application, the required documentation, to some of the benefits that come with the MBE certification, as well as a little bit of information about the council. We do have plenty of time scheduled within this hour, which is not needed for the presentation, but just because I want you to ask any questions you have. I will ask everyone to mute themselves if you are not speaking. However, if you do have any questions at any given moment, you can just unmute yourself and jump in and just ask your question. You don't need to wait until the end, but you could if you want. We'll do brief introductions, then we'll go ahead and review the eligibility of the program, the application process, the required documents and application fees, the benefits, the core values of GNE MSCC, and then we'll just discuss if this certification makes sense for you. All right, so I can just go down the list of attendees, and if you can kindly just share your name, the name of your business and the type of business that you're in, how many years your company has been in operation, how many employees you have, what your role is, and why are you interested in the GNE MSCC MBE certification. So Cassandra, do you mind if we start with you?
No problem. My name's Cassandra Thomas. The name of my company is NISA Strategies LLC. We're a economic development and public sector consulting company. We've been in business. This is our first year. I have 2 employees other than myself. I'm the president and the owner. And I'm interested in the certification because we do a lot of federal procurement. And obviously that is an advantage, and as well as just networking in general. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Key Garland.
Hello.
And correct me if I mispronounce your name.
My name is Kai Garland, and I have 2 businesses. One, I'm the owner, which is Eagle Environmental Consulting Services, which is a microbiology business consulting. And my second, I co-own with my husband, and it's an architectural firm, but I handle all the money and the management part of it, and that is J. Garland Enterprises. I've been in business for Eagle for May will be the 6th year. J. Garland, been 3 years. I did have my husband certified with no assistance last year or 2 years ago. Now I'm trying to get my own. I am a African-American woman, and so I'm disadvantaged in everything. So according to regulations, so I would like to apply for the MBE for my own business and learn if I am eligible.
Okay, great. Thank you. Paul?
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Nelson, and I represent, I own a consultancy, and the consultancy is called Schooley Mitchell Hartford DBA BP2 Enterprises. And we are a consultancy that work with companies to help them reduce their operating costs. And in doing so, we've been in business for 6 years. So a number of the larger companies that I work with, they would like to do business with minority companies, especially they like to do business with minority companies, especially with the advent of diversity and inclusion being pushed heavily by many entities. So a lot of what I'm focused on is being able to get qualified for that, and also expand my reach of the various companies that are really driving for that type of participation. So again, the company is a consultancy, and we have a range of areas that we're focused on: telecom, merchant services, shipping, waste management. So again, we consult to help clients reduce those costs.
Thank you, Paul. Chantel?
Hello, my name is Chantel Lanique Smith. I am a solopreneur at Lanique & Co. We are 1 year old. It is a candle company, and I am the curator of all the candles, and we produce workshops around the city. I'm not sure what the certification would do, so I'm here to just learn what the opportunities are.
Great. I hope that any questions you have, I'm sure you have a lot. I hope that I'm able to answer them during this meeting. And finally, Tehran.
Good afternoon. My name's Tehran. The business I have is Samson's Transportation LLC. It's pretty much just a truck business where I pick up freight from one location and drop it off to the next, right? I've been in business for about 8 months, I believe. I don't have employees. I only have contractors, but I have 3. What do? I pretty much find the loads for the drivers and get them, make sure they're prepared, whatever they need, and make sure it gets there on time. I'm interested in the program because I want to be able to make my business more predictable. The money's good, but I want to be able to know exactly how much I'm going to make, or a range, instead of 1 month of being higher, a lot higher than the next month. And how did I learn about? I think it was just a random Google search, to be honest with you. I was trying to look into making my business veteran certified, and I didn't even know anything about minority certifications or anything like that, to be honest with you. So hope I did okay.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you all so much. Let me see if I can go into full screen. That's better. Great. So thank you all for sharing this information about yourselves and your organizations. Just to tell you a little bit about the Greater New England Minority Supplier Development Council. We are a nonprofit agency. We've been around for a little bit over 45 years. We are recognized as one of the region's leading corporate memberships organizations, and I'll explain a little bit in a little bit what that exactly means. We are one of 23 regional affiliated councils of the National Minority Supplier Development Council. We all work together towards the same goal, basically, and we certify MBEs across the country, including Hawaii and Puerto Rico. And right now, the national network is composed by thousands of MBEs and also a couple of thousands of corporations that all work together seamlessly in many different ways. We do cover all 6 states of the New England region, so Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. And we have 2 offices, one in Boston, Massachusetts, and the other one in New Haven, Connecticut. We have been working remotely for about a year now. So that's why I mentioned, for those of you that joined a little bit earlier, I haven't been able to experience the spring day that we're having today, but we are everywhere, especially now in the virtual world. That has been facilitated to us because we can just meet with anyone from any state in one single day. So that has gotten easier, at least on our end. So the MBE eligibility, what does an MBE mean and how do you qualify? So the business must be owned at least 51% by minority individual or individuals. So this 51% can be composed by one or more minority people. They must be a United States citizen, and they must be at least 1/4 of Asian Indian, Asian Pacific, Black, Hispanic, and or Native American. Now, what does the 1/4 means? That means that at least one of your grandparents needs to be of this ethnic backgrounds. And we will ask for proof. And you'll see the long list of documentations that we will require in order for you to complete this application. So what does the process look like? So you are already taking one step. You are attending this pre-certification webinar, and this will help you determine if proceeding with the application is actually something that might be in your benefit. If you haven't, you can go on our website and request a login. Once you have that login and you can access our system, you will see the actual application and the list of documents that is required in order for you to complete the application. You will complete it, and then you will submit the application once you have uploaded all the required documentation. Once you submit it, you will be asked for a fee, and that is determined based on your annual sales. We will review that in a moment as well. After you submit your application, we will review all the documents that you have uploaded. Once we verify that we have everything we need, we will contact you for a site visit. Right now, we are still doing all of our site visits on a virtual environment. Hence what I said before, that we can be in different states in one day. So we're still doing them virtually, which is a little bit easier. But we are hoping to be able to get back into in-person site visits, hopefully in the near future. When we do these site visits, the minority owner must be present. And after the site visit is completed, your application is presented to our certification committee, who reviews the application in detail. They submit their approvals, and then this goes into the board of directors. Once the board of directors have submitted their approval votes, then you will become certified. Your certification is valid for 1 year, and during that year, you will be part of our regional database of certified MBEs, as well as the national database. So you are not only becoming part of this regional network, but you'll be part of the national network of certified minority-owned businesses. The certification process normally can take between 30 and 45 days. However, that time frame can be affected by many different factors. So one of them is when the application is submitted. That certification committee meeting I mentioned just now happens once a month. For example, for the month of March, that meeting happened earlier this morning. So if we missed today's meeting, even if your application is completed today, tomorrow, that means you have to wait for the meeting in April for that application to be reviewed and then eventually approved. The completeness of your supporting documents. So if you submit your application and you did not include all the documents that we need, we will contact you because we need these documents. We cannot proceed without them. So your responsiveness can also affect this. So if you respond right away and you provide the missing documentation, we can proceed. If you don't, if your responsiveness is not as fast as we wish, then that can delay the process. Just so you know that applications can stay in our system just up to 90 days. After that, they will be withdrawn from the system. Something else that can delay your application is submitting expired documentation. Documents are not translated and password protected documentation. So again, these are all reasons that for us that we will need to reach out to you. We will need to wait for your response. And without that, we cannot proceed. So these are things that can delay and extend the 30 to 45 days that we wish to keep all of our applications within. Are there any questions so far? No? Okay.
Yes, I do have I have a question.
Okay.
You mentioned the certification is good for 1 year. Then you have to resubmit paperwork every year, or how does that happen? What do you do to continue the process?
Yeah, that's a great question. So your recertification process is a lot easier than the first time around. So when you apply for recertification, all you need to submit is an affidavit that is provided to you within the application. You need to download that and sign it and notarize it, upload it again into our system, and then your latest tax returns, and that's it. Your application will again be valid for 1 year, and then that process of recertification is what you need to follow year after year to keep your application active.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My question was in regards to the site visit, either virtual
Okay.
or not. So as an artisan, I don't work in the same space all the time. What would that look like as a site visit?
Do you have an office? How is your business?
I use UPS store as my mailing address. So
That's it. So, okay, that's fine. So if we were in a world where in-person site visits were happening, we will meet at a nearby cafe or some sort of centralized location like that. Right now, because we are virtually, I mean, I'm home right now. So I cannot expect people to just go into their office when that might represent a risk for their health. So you can do the site visits from your home because we are virtually on a virtual environment right now, and that doesn't affect the process at all.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? Okay. So required documents. I will leave this screen up for a moment so you guys can review. I'm sure there will be questions about it, but this is the list of documents that are required for you to complete your application. The first section, all businesses are required to submit. That list applies to all kinds of businesses. Then it gets broken down by the type of business and the documentation that is needed. So I will leave this up for a moment. Let me know if there are any questions.
I do have a question overall.
Okay,
Can we get a copy of this presentation?
sure.
All right, excellent.
And this session is also being recorded. So we will be posting it on our YouTube page. So you guys can watch it again if there is anything that you missed or you just want to see it again.
I have a question as well. For the items that are, if applicable, do we need to provide a justification for why they may not be applicable?
Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so for the items that are not applicable, do we need to provide a justification for why they're not applicable?
Yeah, so when you are on the application, let's say a fictitious business statement doesn't apply to a lot of businesses. So doesn't apply to you, there will be a box, it's an NA box, not applicable. Once you click on that box, a small text box will come up and you can just type in, we do not have a DBA because we don't use a fictitious name. So that way I know that I don't need to ask for it because you just don't have it. So on that, I suggest that on that text box that you'll be provided that you are as clear as possible. Because if you tell me, for example, I will sometimes get an application and it tells me I don't have an operating agreement. And that's the explanation. And I'm just like, okay, why? I need it. So that will delay the process because I will request it. But if you tell me this is the reason why, or maybe it's uploaded alongside with another documentation on a different field, then I know that I can just go there and look for it. So when that box comes up, just be as clear as possible so we know what the situation is.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? Okay. So I will share this list with you guys. And again, I also highly suggest that you go on our website, you create a login. And once you are on the application and you see this list, it will also give you a brief description of what documents you can upload to satisfy the need. So for example, for proof of US citizenship, it will tell you between parentheses that you can upload your birth certificate, your naturalization certificate, your US passport. So there's different documents that you can upload on each field to kind of satisfy that. So again, I highly suggest that you do that as well. It will give you more information than what's on this sheet, but I will also share this with you at the end of this session.
So Ileana, how are we supposed to prove our parents and ethnicity? I mean, like, how are you expecting us to prove that?
So you can submit your birth certificate. If you were born in the United States and you have a long form of your birth certificate, it might state your ethnicity or your race.
In mine does not.
Okay, It doesn't. So maybe your parents at birth or death certificate will have it. Another option that has just been recently added is your grandparents' information as well. Obviously, with that, if you are able to submit your grandparents' birth or death certificates, we will need your birth certificate as well as your father or your mother's, just so we can establish the relationship. Something else that has been added that I thought it was interesting, it's you can submit one of your, if you have children, one of their birth certificate if that states their race, just because obviously it will most likely, we can just prove the ethnicity that way.
So that's interesting. Right now, I know on my son's birth certificate, it doesn't state any ethnicity or race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they're intentionally not doing that.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, so, and you're asking me to dig up a birth certificate of, my dad was born in 1923, and, you know, it's like, I don't even know, like, I guess I could go back to New York City and see if they have it, but I can't guarantee they're going to have it. You know, he was probably born in an apartment building in Harlem.
Yeah. Yeah, this is usually one of those fields that are the most, I don't know if I should say complicated, but it definitely represents the biggest challenge for a lot of our applicants because of the same reasons you guys are saying. And to the point of our children not having that kind of information on their birth certificate, that's why I said it was interesting. I have a child and his birth certificate doesn't state any of that information as either. So, but it was one of the options that was just recently added by the National Minority Supplier Development Council, as you know, as a way of proving it, because it has become a little bit harder and harder to just prove our ethnicity when it comes to documentation. So they just provide different options. These are the options that these guidelines are established by our NMSDC, and these are the options that they give you. So that's why when you go on our website and you look at the application, it will just give you some of these details. For each field, you will have a brief description of what can be uploaded to satisfy the need of that documentation. But just please know that without this information, most likely we cannot proceed with the MBE certification, because that is the main component of our council. We certify minority-owned businesses. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting something else. Something else that you can upload is also medical records that might state your ethnicity as well. And it could be anything. Like, we don't want to violate any HIPAA laws or anything like that, but it could be anything that comes from either your doctor or a hospital that states your ethnicity as well, or your race.
How about DNA testing?
That's not part of the list. Surprisingly, it's not.
Yeah, well, ethnicity doesn't necessarily match up with genetics either, so let's not get into that.
Well, some of us
I
can
mean,
check all the
even
boxes,
between
you know.
children. Yeah. But I mean, even between children, you'll see big, especially in those of us who are kind of mixed, you'll see big differences between biological siblings and their genetics, but they have the same ethnicity, they have the same parents. So, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully adding the medical record into the mix, that might facilitate this process for some of you that don't have the birth certificate with the kind of information that is being requested.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of historical information that talks about my family's ethnicity. Is that any of that useful?
What do you mean by historical information?
Well, like that my grandfather was the first Black. I mean, I have articles that talk about how he was the first Black alderman in New York City, or if I can't dig up a birth certificate, or like, you know, that my dad went to Howard as a Black student, or any of that.
I will need to take a look, but most likely not. I will just need to take a look so we can take this conversation on the side, but most likely it will not be sufficient for this specific field. But you and I can connect on the side and just review this on a one-on-one basis.
I just want to say it's so I'm in my 40s. So my parents on their birth certificates, it states that they're African American or colored. So if you have the last set of parents, if they're African American, or it will state that. So I don't know how many generations you need, but the last generation it
Just
will
that.
state. Mhm.
Yeah, just your parents or your grandparents will be sufficient. In many cases, this is how ethnicity is proof with our applications. But I understand that, you know, depending on where they were born in the country, if they were born in the United States, where it depends on the state, it also depends on the time they were born, that may affect the kind of information that is included on their birth certificates or death certificates. But you're definitely right. Most, like I said, most of the time, this is how ethnicity is proved with our applications.
I have a question. Is this the same application you will need to apply for the SDA AA? Okay.
No, so this application is only for MBE status within the National Minority Supplier Development Council. We do have, and I'll speak a little bit about that in a moment, a few slides ahead. We do have a full cross-certification service with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that facilitates that certification for our MBEs as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions on this part of the presentation? Okay, so I'll move forward. So the cost of the application. So as I said before, the cost of your MBE certification application depends on your annual sales. So as you saw on the previous slide, we will require your tax returns, and it will show the amount of sales you had, let's say in 2019, which is most likely what you may have available right now if you don't have 2020. Based on that number, then your fee will be calculated. The application fee is $250 for every application. This only applies for new certification applications, not for your renewal. And then the certification fee starts at $300 and it goes up depending on which category you fall on. We divide our MBEs into 4 categories. Category 1 is less than $1 million in revenue or sales. Category 2 is between 1 million and 10 or 9.9. Then category 3 is between 10 and 50, and then anything over 50 million and above, it's considered category 4. So the fee depends on how much your annual sales was for the latest tax returns that you provide us with. Now, when you come back next year and you apply for your recertification, then there is no application fee, and it starts at $250 and it goes up to $850. And again, it does depend on the tax returns that you provide us with and how you answer the question of your annual sales. That's how this is calculated. The recertification fee is obviously lower because of what I mentioned before. Only 2 pieces of documents need to be uploaded. It's a quick application. All you need to do is confirm that the application is the same, or the information in the application or your profile is the same, or if anything has changed, then that is your time to make the updates, and that's it. The process after that is the same. We will review the application, the documents uploaded, we will present it with our certification committee and then our board of directors for approval, and then you'll be certified again for another year. Any questions on this? Okay, move along. So GNMSDC's core values. We certify, you already know that. We develop, we connect, and we advocate. So we certified minority-owned businesses in the New England region. The reason for that is because we also have corporate members that join our council because they want to work with minority-owned businesses. These corporations either have a supplier diversity program in action that they just wish to continue developing, or they are planning to have a supplier diversity program, and they partner with councils like ours so they can make sure they have access to this pool of certified businesses that they can work with. So how does that work exactly? Most of the time, whenever they have an opportunity available, they have a need for a product or a service, they will reach out to us first. They will let us know, hey, so We are heading back into the office. We got the vaccine or whatever the case is. We need hand sanitizer. We need face masks. We need supplies, PPE supplies. They will let us know first. We will reach out into a pool of MBEs. We will see which MBEs can provide the products that they are looking for, and we will connect them. This will facilitate an introduction so between the MBE and the corporate member so they can talk, and hopefully the MBE can take advantage of this opportunity. We also offer development programs for all of our MBEs. There is no extra cost added to this, and we'll review in just a moment what these development programs look like. But for example, one of you mentioned at the beginning of when we were introducing ourselves that your business is doing well, but you just want to have, I guess, a more organized way of predicting and what the next month will be, or the next year, or the next 5 years. That is something that we can assist with. We offer development programs, we offer one-on-one consulting, we offer training opportunities as well. So when our MBEs join our council, my wish is that they will always join this certification webinar beforehand so they have a greater idea on what to expect. But when we do the site visit, or we get to connect some time between the moment they submit their application and before they get certified, I make sure they understand that I want them to think about the council not only as a place where they'll hopefully get business opportunities with a corporate member, but also as a place that they can come to us so we can help them get to the next step. Now, and I'll speak more about this in a moment, when you get certified, that doesn't mean that you'll automatically get businesses with a corporation or even another MBE. Sometimes you are very small, you can't provide for large contracts. So what we do is we help you get more organized, maybe that's the right way to say it, so you can be contract ready when those opportunities come your way. We also advocate. We are constantly finding ways where we can raise our voices on behalf of our MBEs so we can wedge the gap of racial divide in our country. And you'll see a lot of that happening once you become more involved with our council. So I will leave this up for a moment. This is just a quick example of what the development services look like for all of our MBEs. The bottom section, it's advanced leadership program, is now called Building Sustainable Business Program, but it's essentially the same. We meet about once a month for about an hour and a half, and we covered the Kaufman Foundation's Fast Track curriculum, which basically just puts your business into perspective on how you can get organized, or how you can get to the next step, how you can get contract ready. This program covers all of that. I will leave this up for a moment as well so you guys can see it, and let me know if you have any questions. Any questions? Okay, and as I said before, these programs are available to everyone that is certified with our council. The only program that is basically one program for everyone that joins is our Building Sustainable Business Program. Besides that, we have the one-on-one consulting services, we have training opportunities as well, and most of these are catered to your business, because what one business needs doesn't necessarily mean that the other business will need. So we try to make sure that it's catering specifically to what you need and what you need to get to the next step. Now the fun part, should you get certified? You need to think about who is your targeted customer. Is it a corporation? Is it another company? Or is it just the consumer? So are you looking to work with corporations in America? And when I say corporations, I'm talking about your CVS, your TJX, your JP Morgan Chase, your Bank of America. These are the kind of companies that we have on our portfolio of corporate members. And they work with us because they want to work with certified MBEs. We also have MBEs in our database that work with other MBEs. We have MBEs that are very large, and their objective is also to help develop the smaller ones. So if that is something that it's on your target, it's something that you are already doing, then this can be for you. Do you have the capacity to provide for large contracts? And this is in terms of financially, scalability, scope, and the past experience. This is something that they will ask. And again, I said before, the fact that you are certified doesn't necessarily mean that you will get contracts, that you will get these opportunities, because sometimes these factors are on the way. So it's really important that you understand that if you don't have this kind of capacity, then your chances of getting contracts or opportunities with other corporations or MBEs are going to be very slim. Are you ready and willing to share the details of your business? We all saw the list of documents that we require. It's quite long, it's quite personal, it's sensitive. So before you even start the process of applying, I suggest that you review that list again and you come, I guess, to peace with the fact that you will need to provide proof of ethnicity, proof of US citizenship, your tax returns, your finance reports. You will need to provide this kind of information. If you don't, then we will not be able to proceed with the process of certifying you. So just make sure that it is okay with you that you'll be sharing these personal documents, business documents, and financial documents, and in order to complete your application. And once again, are you clear that your MBE certification doesn't entitle you or guarantee you contracts? What we do offer you is networking events. Even in the virtual environments, we're actually having more events now than we did in the past. And that is because we are everywhere now at the same time. There's no need to travel between one state and the other for anyone. We can just join from our homes or our offices, wherever we are located, and we are able to connect. We offer this platform for you. We offer the development programs we briefly reviewed just now. We also have a bi-weekly newsletter. We have over 10,000 subscribers to it. It does involve our MBEs as well as our corporations. There is a section in this newsletter dedicated to our certified MBEs, and we encourage everyone to take advantage of that. The purpose of that is to provide exposure to your business. We want everyone to know who you are, where you are, and that you are certified with us, that you are minority owned, and people can just reach out to you. We also have social media channels that are open to all of our MBEs as well. And again, the same purpose. We just want to make sure that you are getting as much exposure with our audience as we can provide you with. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
So in regards to the corporate opportunities and or MBE, these are introductions that would take place, or is this basically just having our information available such that if the opportunity presents itself, you're able to present us, or how does that work?
So this works in different ways. One of the ways is the one I just covered, which is they have a need, they let us know, and we reach out to you guys. They also have access to a database, and they can search for themselves if there is an MBE that can provide them with those PPE supplies. Another way is you let us know who you want to connect with. So our list of current corporate members is posted on our website. It is a public list. You can go on our website as a certified MBE. You can see this and you tell me, okay, I wish to connect with this specific corporation. You will send me your capability statement, and our director of corporate services will reach out to them. She will provide them with your company profile and your capability statements, and they can let us know when will be a good time to connect based on their current needs. Or maybe in 3 months, they will be needing the product or services that you offer, or maybe in 6 months. There's different ways that that can happen. We also have power networking events. Right now, we are actually actively working on a few that are coming up. And what that means is that these corporations reach out to us and they tell us, hi, I want to have a networking event. I want to meet the MBEs. Sometimes they will let us know, this is the area of focus. This is what we need, let's say, in the next few months coming up, or this is what I need now. So this is the kind of MBEs that I want to meet. sometimes they'll tell us, we just want to meet everyone, different industries, different products, different services that are being offered. And then they will decide who to bring in into their list of suppliers. Now, a lot of these corporations, both regionally and nationally, it is two separate groups. They have supplier diversity programs that you can join once you are certified. So when you join, you are part of their database of diverse suppliers. That doesn't mean that you're automatically working with them, but it means that you are into this list of suppliers that they have direct access to. There is an application process. You will upload your MBE certificate or the number, depending on how their system is set up, and you can be part of that list again, that is directly within their companies. So there's different ways that that can happen, you know, and hopefully in one of those ways, your business specifically will get some sort of business. And something else that I want to mention is that these corporations not only provide these opportunities to get business with them, but they also, besides of what we offer, they also offer development programs for our MBEs. Sometimes they offer workshops, they offer some sort of development program or even networking events, and all of our MBEs are invited to that. So again, I want you to think about the council not only as a place where you will get business, because again, it's not guaranteed, but it's a place where you will connect with a lot of people in one forum that may not be necessarily the case if you are not part of the council. But I want you to take all these different factors on your screen into consideration before you apply for the certification, and just be clear, you know, what you can offer and the capacity of, let's say, a contract with a corporate member. For our smaller MBEs, we do try to connect them with other MBEs because that might be the higher chance of actually getting businesses, because they might require smaller contracts or smaller amount of product, or the service might be on a smaller scale than an actual corporate member.
Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? Okay, I think this is the end of our presentation. We do have a few minutes left within the hour that we have scheduled. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask now. If not, you all have my email address. That is the email that I use to send you the calendar invitation for today's webinar. Feel free to use it. Feel free to contact me. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you just want to review a few things beforehand. I am available to answer any questions you have on the site as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eliana. Eliana, this is Paul Nelson. And again, one other thing I wanted to mention is I was actually given your name by Ted Sue.
Okay.
And he had forwarded me some recent information about telecommunication auditing. That's the type of work that we do. So I wanted to, at some point, follow up with you on that email as well.
Okay. Yes, please send me an email. We can definitely connect on the site. And yeah, Ted is one of our certified MBEs as well, so everyone knows. But yes, please connect with me. You all have my email address. If there is anything that was not clear during this presentation, feel free to reach out, and I'll be more than happy to assist you. And if I don't know the answer, we'll get it together. We'll make sure we get it for you. So.
Very good.
All right, then. Well, if there is no more questions, then we all get about 12 minutes back into our day. So I hope you all have a productive week, and I look forward to connecting with you again, either via email or your applications.
I do have one other thing to say.
Okay.
I'd like to tell the ladies thank you and congratulations on International Business Week for all the ladies who are on this call.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care and have a great week.
Thanks. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.